Get in here and get the first win in New Jersey. We'll see if that has an impact on how this series ultimately plays out. Ty Domi, as he did in game one, starting on the line here with Roberts and Sundin. As Danico sends it ahead for Randy McKay. He sends it deep now into the Toronto zone. Aki Berg able to play it around the board, but there's Niedermeyer backhanding it toward the net. It was knocked down in front before it got to Joseph. Now McKay with it. Sets it up between the circles. Sundin is there to tip it away. And the Devils regain control as Niedermeyer backhands it off the board. Gary Roberts plays it ahead. Here's Sundin. Tried to go to Domi, but it's knocked away by Randy McKay. And back deep into the Leaf zone, and both teams will be able to make changes.
Well, an early matchup, you saw there, Holik went after Sundin within the first 10 seconds and gave him a shot. And I'm sure that's why Pat Quinn had Ty Domi out there as well, not only to put something physical into the Devils zone, but also to make sure that they didn't go after Sundin right away and send a message.
Pat Gomez dumps it in, and it is stopped back there by Joseph. Good communication. His defenseman, Brian McCabe, sweeping in to get the puck. He is hit by Gomez. So the Devils look like they're trying to establish themselves physically as a group. Scott Stevens can't be the only one throwing hits, and Domi went for a big hit, and then Cheatham just barely sidestepped that. Colin White stepped into him. Loose puck in front of Brodeur, and the Devils get to it and started back the other way. Here is Gomez. He's got McGillney on his left. Gomez rolls it across, and a good job by Domi to knock McGillney off sides. Well, Curtis Joseph got most of the credit for the shutout in game one. Other guys helped out. For more on that, let's go downstairs to Dave Ryan.
All right, Dave Strader, thanks a lot. A big part of the Maple Leafs 5-game win streak to start these playoffs has been shot blocking. Both the forwards and defensemen alike really sacrificing their bodies, clogging the shooting lanes. They had 26 blocked shots in game one against Jersey. It's something the Maple Leaf players tell us they didn't do enough of in the regular season, but as part of an improved all-around offensive effort, everyone getting involved in the playoffs. Goalie Curtis Joseph can worry about the upper part of the net when his teammates are taking away the lower half. He calls it a huge part of the Leafs playoff win. Shane Corson leads all forwards, Dave, with 11 blocked shots. He says after everyone started from the forwards blocking shots in the Ottawa series, it became contagious.
That's the kind of thing you want in the playoffs. Thanks very much, Dave. Is that kind of effort becoming contagious, and that's what Pat Quinn talked about prior to this series in terms of toughness. You add a guy like Corson, you add a Gary Roberts, but other guys have to be willing to compete in other areas. Rafalski holding it in, sets it up for this redirection by Sikora that never got to the net. Just gave it now up the right wing boards, and it's cleared by the Leafs to center ice.
You talk about blocking shots, and you got to talk about Yuskevich. This guy saw more rubber than Goodyear against Ottawa. He stopped every single shot that he could when he was out there. He had to have a lot of ice bags on him by the end of that series.
Now Yannick Perreault with Berezin and Antropov. Berezin trying to get loose, did get the shot away. There's a shot block right there by Scott Stevens as he went down. Sergei Berezin, probably the most dangerous Toronto forward one-on-one, even more so than Sundin at times. And it is cleared here by Antropov back to the neutral zone. Sean O'Donnell, a late season acquisition by Lou Lamoriello and the Devils. Now to Turner Stevenson. His soft pass ahead is blocked by McCabe back inside the New Jersey zone. Early first period of game two, Eastern Conference semifinals. The defending champion Devils down 1-0, and that puck up into the Toronto bench and out of play.
Well, the New Jersey Devils are certainly hoping to get the first goal in this game, and the first goal on Curtis Joseph of the series. You know, in these playoffs, the teams that score first are 37-11, as opposed to the 2000 playoffs where they were 62-21 in the entire playoffs. But that first goal means a lot.
Well, it allows teams to settle into their style if they're trying to play more of a defensive-oriented system, and it forces the other team sometimes when they're down a goal or down 2 goals, obviously, to open things up. And I think what has surprised everybody is how the Pittsburgh Penguins have played when the game has been scoreless and when they've gotten the 1-goal lead. And of course, they've taken a 2-0 lead in their first-round series against Buffalo with 2 wins on the road, winning 3-1 earlier today on ABC Sports.
Well, it's especially important for the Devils the way they play the game. They can set up their system. They get their first goal, they get comfortable, they set up their system, and it's really hard to get going against the Devils if they've got that lead.
Now Holik gets a stick on it. It comes back to the point. Stevens with a drive, and that sails just wide of Joseph. Big carom off the end boards, and Aki Berg to Steve Thomas. Here's Gary Roberts without his helmet. Hands it off down for Sundin. Sundin pass to the front of the net. Didn't get through. Stevens with a big block on the pass there, as Thomas was cutting for the front of the net. Here is Roberts again. Letting it back in deep, and Niedermeyer has it there. Scott Niedermeyer settling it down. Well, the Devils looking to come out of their own zone. Sergei Nemchinov on the right wing side for Gomez. It bounces away from him. There's Joseph turning that stick over to shoot it like a right-hander. Niedermeyer gets there, plays it off the board. McGillney, his shot to the net was blocked. That was Caberlet that got it. It comes back to McGillney again. Again, it is blocked by Caberlet. Nemchinov sends it just wide. Here is Niedermeyer now. The defenseman has been fairly deep in the offensive zone, Neil, this entire shift.
We're going to start to call him a rover.
And here he is going to the front of the net and in for the end boards again. Niedermeyer continues to press on this play. As Nemchinov is bumped off the puck, the crowd wanted the penalty. Nothing coming, and the Leafs able to clear. Danico for the Devils, able to send it back out to center ice, and here's Niedermeyer with it, hands it off for Scott Gomez. He fakes the shot, tries to get through, but the Leafs get there and send it back to center ice.
Boy, Scott Niedermeyer was all over the ice on that shift, Dave. He reminded me of Paul Coffey, but he's got the fluid skating style and the speed to be able to recover from those situations, but certainly on that shift there, he was everywhere.
Now O'Donnell for the Devils trying to clear the zone. It's chopped at by Corson, but it ends up over the glass and out of play. More Stanley Cup playoff action coming your way Sunday night, 7:30 Eastern. ESPN 2's National Hockey Night. Brett Hull and the Stars will try to even up their series as Brett's former team, the St. Louis Blues, lead that series 1-0. 7:30 Eastern, 4:30 Pacific. Marty Reisner, the big story offensively in Game 1 with 2 goals and 1 assist, and of course Roman Turek with 21 saves. As you take a look at the brackets in the Stanley Cup playoffs, Toronto leading this series 1-0. Pittsburgh with their win this afternoon. Colorado on home ice finally getting a win as the home team. And St. Louis will, of course, play Dallas tomorrow night.
The biggest surprise has to be the Pittsburgh Penguins, as you said earlier, Dave. A 2-0 lead, taking both games in Buffalo, and both games, obviously, against Dominic Hasek.
Here is Joseph out of the net to play it again. Backhands it along the board. Arnott working his way in, but it's chopped away by Markov, and the stick of Jonas Hovland was broken on the play. He'll go over to the bench and able to get a new piece of lumber without sacrificing his position on the ice as the Leafs were back.
They might want to keep that stick because Ty could probably use that later.
Here's a steal by Sikora. Sikora back to the corner of the net, fired wide by Arnott. That's the kind of bang-bang play it's going to take to beat Joseph the way he is going in these playoffs. Elias sets it up for Sikora. Sikora tried to go back to the corner. Pinned to the boards, and Yushkevich able to play it out to center ice.
Dmitry Yushkevich is playing the best hockey of his season right now in the playoffs when it matters the most. He was really big. He came up big in the Ottawa series. And as we said before, blocking countless shots.
Well, there's been a lot of block shots because we haven't had a shot on goal here in Game 2. It remains scoreless. The loss in Game 1 and the fact that the Devils failed to score a goal not discouraging the fans from showing their support here. East Rutherford, New Jersey. Dave Strader, Neil Smith, Dave Ryan, the rest of our ESPN National Hockey Night crew. Glad you're with us here on this Saturday night after I'm sure most of you watched ABC regional coverage of the NHL earlier today. Brodeur back to handle the puck as we're still looking for our first shot on goal in this game. Yannick Perreault, Antropov, and Berezin. The second line, if you will, for Pat Quinn as Caberlet tried to send it along the boards. It was blocked by Turner Stevenson, and Stevenson will lay it back into the Toronto zone. Here comes Madden. Back for Stevenson, centering attempt. Tipped just wide. Pandolfo was there. Stevenson again. Centering pass, and attempting the one-timer was Pandolfo, but again, he had a Toronto Maple Leaf right in his face. Now it's loose on the skates of Yannick Perreault. He'll try to chase it down. Stevenson trying to battle through. McCabe had him pinned. Now here's Pandolfo again. Good work by this fourth line for the New Jersey Devils. Pandolfo now behind the net. Caberlet takes him. Danico moved in. He sends it across the Toronto zone, but it's picked off by Berezin. And Sergei Berezin up the left side, one-on-one against Niedermeyer. Drops it. Antropov gets the shot away. A bouncing puck that was easily handled by Brodeur, and the Devils able to clear.
And we may have just seen our first shot on goal of the entire game we have.
Yes.
That Nick Andropov shot was the first shot of this hockey game. Almost 7.5 minutes in.
And a whistle for a two-line pass that came out of the New Jersey Devils zone. Well, let's take a look at our Bud Light Stanley Cup summary. The road team has won 5 of 6 games so far in the second round, including action this afternoon. Colorado getting the first home ice win in the second round by beating LA 2-0. And Mario Lemieux with 10 points in 8 games, tied for first in playoff scoring today with an assist in the victory. And of course, for those of you that may not have seen the Pittsburgh victory over Buffalo, Jaromir Jagr not even dressed for the game. Speculation by Steve Levy and Darren Pang, who of course covered the game, was that perhaps it's a shoulder injury, although they're calling it a Charlie horse. But Neil, we all know in the playoffs, I'm sure even with the Rangers, you may have...
Well, you don't tell the truth. You're never under oath to tell the truth in the playoffs.
I was going to say just painted the truth a little bit. A check on Holik there, but he was able to recover against Roberts and clear it out to center ice. And now here's Holik with Freeland and McKay. Holik working against Sundin. It's knocked away now by Roberts, and Sundin clears it ahead. Steve Thomas could not corral it, and the Devils back at center ice again. Holik's band on it was bumped there by Aki Berg. Holik cross plays it off the glass, and it's over the glove. Well, the Devils player, and out to center ice, but right back comes Holik. Tries to drop it for McKay. Randy McKay, a fresh shot on the save made by Joseph. Just got his right arm on it, so Curtis Joseph makes his first save. Better than 8 minutes into this first period as McKay now for Holik. This is where this line can be effective. Centering pass right through the crease, and Curtis Joseph lost his goal stick as Corey crossed his defenseman along with Randy McKay. The Devils came crashing through. Now here is Matt Sundin and Holik. That's a matchup we expect to see a lot of here, especially when the games are in New Jersey. Now Stevens battling against Steve Thomas. Gary Roberts gets to the loose puck. Roberts, a centering pass, a chance, here, score! Markov came in from the point, and the Maple Leafs have scored the first goal of Game 2.
Well, that's definitely a surprise for Larry Robinson's Devils. The one guy that they didn't expect to score the opening goal would have been the defenseman Markov, but he snuck in from the back door. The hard-working Gary Roberts again comes up with a puck while they're all watching Sundin, and backdoor Markov comes in and puts it by Brodeur for a big 1-0 Toronto lead. 1 goal on the 3 shots. Let's take a look at it from inside the net on our Southwest Airlines goal cam. You see Martin Brodeur move over, but he beats him on the glove side, and the shots are 3-zip Toronto.
A perfect shot along the ice, just under the glove of Brodeur, just outside the left skate and just inside the post. And for Danny Markov, his first ever playoff goal. As a matter of fact, for Markov, he had just 9 playoff assists in his career coming into tonight's action. His first ever goal. Roberts and Sundin getting the assist.
Well, that's a big goal. We talked about the first goal of the game and how you win games off scoring the first goal. Gary Roberts comes and picks up the puck after Holik was focused on Sundin and finds Markov coming in the back door from the point. There's the pass through the middle to a breaking Markov. And you know, the Devils are giving so much attention to Sundin that other people are able to operate, namely a guy like Gary Roberts, who doesn't mind going in and getting his nose dirty and picking up where Sundin leaves off.
Now Nemchinov tries to set it up for McGillney. It bounces away from McGillney and is chopped out to center ice. And here's McGillney again, one of the significant scores for the Devils that has to get things going. And now it comes to Caberlet. They still have not credited, you're right, the Devils with a shot on goal. I thought that Joseph definitely had to make a save earlier on, but Ty Domi, a collision with Gomez. That'll be a delayed offside, and the linesman will blow it dead.
And I'll tell you something, for the Devils not to have a shot on net here at the Continental Airlines Arena almost halfway through the first period tells you something, because I've been in here with the Rangers many nights when I swear I never saw the shots that got put on the net. It seemed like they had a itchy trigger finger on the shot clock. Bobby Holik has done a great job roughing up Matt Sundin, but can he keep Matt Sundin and his line mates from operating?
I thought the first part of that shift, the first half to 3/4 of that shift, Holik had dominated. His line mates had Sundin back in the defensive zone, but the one time it came up the ice, credit Matt Sundin again for battling through all that. He took a hit down low. He set up Roberts, and as you pointed out, Roberts made the perfect pass across to Markov. So Sundin, with his second assist of this series, has doubled his point production from the 6-game series a year ago. when just one assist was up on the board for Sundin in that second round loss against the New Jersey Devils. And Matt Sundin, his name has come up in the Eric Lindros rumors and talk that maybe it's time for him to give up the C.
Well, I'm from Toronto, so I go up there a lot, Dave, during the season. I saw a lot of games in Toronto, and there was a lot of negative press, a lot of negative talk about Matt Sundin in the city of Toronto this year. Was it time to get rid of him, move on to somebody else? Did he have the heart to win? Was he a leader? Could you ever win with Matt Sundin? Those kind of statements that drive me nuts, because you can win with anybody as long as they want to put their heart and soul into the games, and Matt Sundin is doing that in this year's playoffs.
Borson tried to clear. It did not come out. So Larry Robinson finds his team trailing 1-0 home ice here in game 2, already down 1-0 in the series. And the big line of Arnott, Sikora, and Elias right back out there. Juszkiewicz now for the Maple Leafs. Hoagland gets a couple of pops at it, able to clear it out to center ice. Now it comes back into the Toronto zone. A very quiet Continental Airlines Arena. This is the kind of crowd that gets the team going. It's almost like they have to have something happen in order to react. And here is Korolev now behind the New Jersey goal, wheeling it out in front. His shot blocked by Brodeur. It comes back to Korolev again. A shot that's deflected up over the glass and out of play. Danny Markov of the Toronto Maple Leafs, his first ever playoff goal, has given the Leafs a 1-0 lead. The Devils talked about shooting the puck more often, getting more shots at Curtis Joseph. Better than half a period, Neil. They don't have a shot on goal.
You feel a worried New Jersey Devils faithful here with 19,040 in the Meadowlands. That's their capacity, 19,040. And there's a worried feeling in the building. You can just feel it.
We're at the Continental Airlines Arena here for game 2 of the Eastern Conference semifinals. Dave Strader, Neil Smith, Dave Bryan is with us at ice level. And the rest of our ESPN National Hockey Night crew. Danny Markov of the Toronto Maple Leafs with the 1 goal. And what's even more astounding is, of course, we showed you how New Jersey has outshot the opposition. They have dominated the shots on goal going back to last year against the Toronto Maple Leafs. A giveaway there by Joseph as he tried to slam it up the boards, and it bounced right out in front of an open net. Unfortunately for Joseph and the Leafs, nobody there for the New Jersey Devils. Now McCabe lobs it out to center ice. Antropov with that long reach. Now McKay tried to knock it free. It's recovered now by Berezin. Berezin trying to split the New Jersey defense. Sergei Berezin chases it down. Hands it off now for Yannick Perreault. Perreault sends it across. A chance here. Fired wide by Thomas. He just misfired. And a left-hand shooter on that side was not that tough an angle. He could have scored from there. Now McKay sets it up here. Stevens with a chance and a save made by Joseph. Well, the puck comes free, and they have put up the 1 shot now for the New Jersey Devils nearly 12 minutes into this first period.
I'm not even sure that I saw the shot, David.
Yeah. This has to be a shock with the talk of a fast start, I'm sure, being the major topic of discussion in the Devils dressing room prior to this game 2. Now Gary Roberts plays it back along the boards, chases it down himself, and now hands it off for Corey Cross. It comes to Roberts on the left wing. Bounced off of his skate. Stopped that by Holik. And Holik and Sundin. A collision. It was rather accidental as Holik was just looking, I think, to get to the bench. And now Gomez just off the bench for the Devils. Overskates the puck. And here is Sundin with it. 1-on-1 against Danico. Roberts in the zone as well for the Leafs. Now Sundin hands it off. Ty Domi just off the bench. Domi in the corner. Takes a hit from Nemchina. Crowd reacts to that. Danico with a hit as well. And now Gomez with an intercept. As the Leafs will look to complete the line change as Gomez. Net by McCauley, who just came off the bench. Now Niedermeyer in there again, leading the attack. Here's McGillney, centering pass off the stick in front. And the Leafs doing a good job tying up the sticks of the Devil players that were near the crease area. And another big hit. Ty Domi having some words. Just kind of nodding his head for now.
Well, some excitement created there naturally by physical play. That will always cause excitement, but Curtis Joseph almost got himself in trouble here. Curtis Joseph is a left-catching goalie that shoots the puck right, so he has to paddle the puck, and it bounces right through his crease, and they're able to save it and put it into safe territory there. Down at the other end, Yannick Perreault puts it towards the net, and Steve Thomas just misses on the one-timer because Martin had to come all the way across the crease. One-timers score in the NHL, not many other things do. Unless the goalie can't see the puck, you need to get a one-timer to get it in the net on guys like Martin Brodeur and Curtis Joseph.
Well, the crowd was standing and waving the towels, trying to get some emotion going in this building. It is 1-0 Maple Leafs, trying to take a 2-0 lead back to Toronto, where Game 3 will take place Tuesday night on ESPN2. Face off top of the circle, and the draw was controlled by Korolev. And Markov, trying to avoid that collision, played it ahead. Hoagland couldn't get it out. Niedermayer holding it in now for Sikora. In deep for Elias. Now Yushkevich taking over. Jason Arnott steps into him. Jane Corson rolls it out to center ice. Intercepted by Niedermayer. He collided with his own teammate Sikora. But Niedermayer recovers. Plays it ahead for Jason Arnott. Had some speed going and mishandled the puck. Arnott gets it back. Tries to go to Sikora. And again, the Maple Leafs excellent defensive coverage. Now Sikora keeping it in. Hands it off for Arnott. Jason Arnott backhand shot sails through. Joseph knew that a devil was on his left side, so he steered the puck with authority away from Niedermayer. Here was Sikora behind the net. New Jersey player taken down, and there's going to be a penalty. It's Jason Arnott that went down, and went down hard, and he appears to be in some pain. Checking to see if there was some blood there, it appeared, on his face. And now Dan Maruelli having a conversation with his partner, Kerry Fraser, and let's hear the call from Dan Maruelli.
Number 55 for Toronto receives 2 minutes for interference.
All right, we knew he'd get to that microphone.
Well, what happened here, Dave, was that Danny Markov took Arnott right into the net. And I thought the butt end of his stick might have jammed him back up in the face. I'm not sure what hit Jason Arnott up in the head. Oh, was the shaft of Markov's stick came down across the bridge of Arnott's nose. And that can really sting, but there's no doubt about that call. Markov hauled him right down to the ice.
Let's go down to Dave Ryan. Dave?
Well, Dave, yesterday at their practice facility, the Devils talked about getting more traffic in front of Curtis Joseph, not trying to get too fancy. They also worked on their power play, which has really struggled in the playoffs in practice. Now, after they scored a power play goal, Peter Sikora suggested at the end of the practice that they end it right there and then to end on a positive note. Head coach Larry Robinson agreed, hoping to take that feeling in a Game 2. Guys, so far on home ice, they're 0 for 19 in the playoffs on the power play.
Very good, and 0 for 8 in Game 1 of this series. Dave Ryan, thanks very much. Going back to the Carolina series, Larry Robinson said it again after Game 1. He's been happy with the puck movement, with the positioning of players, everything except finishing. Although he did say at times, as Dave pointed out, maybe get a bit simpler, just get it to the net and be more hungry for loose pucks. And there was a loose puck that McGillney fired just wide. They need to get McGillney to hit the target. McKay sets it in front, bouncing puck, bounced off the leg, I believe, of Corey Cross, and Matt Sundin able to clear for Toronto. On the other side, the Maple Leafs perfect on the penalty kill so far in these playoffs. They are 24 for 24, going back to their series against the Ottawa Senators as well. As Brian McCabe cleared it around the boards, but it climbs over the glass and out of play. Coming up Monday, a pair of Game 3s, one in the East and one in the West. It'll begin at 7 Eastern on ESPN2's National Hockey Night. Buffalo will be at Pittsburgh trying to get back in the series. Pittsburgh will be looking to take a commanding 3-0 lead. Then at 9:30 Eastern, a full national telecast here on ESPN's National Hockey Night. It will be Game 3 from the Staples Center in Los Angeles. That building will be rocking as the Kings host the Colorado Avalanche.
Here's one of the guys that the Devils are depending on the power play. In this situation, the puck goes off the side of his knee, and Matt Sundin is able to walk in and send it down the ice. But Alexander McGillney is somebody that the Devils are depending on for offense, especially on the power play in this series.
43 goals to lead the Devils in the regular season. Here's Rafalski. Sends it across now, Niedermeyer. Hands it off for Gomez. Back to Niedermeyer again as the two of them play throw and catch in the Toronto zone. Rafalski straight away. McGillney one-timer. That was wide of the net. And a misfired on it. Hockey Berg goes in, throws a big hit on Gomez. See the time remaining in this New Jersey power play. Gomez centering pass, and McKay was tied up. Good job there by Shane Corson getting back.
Curtis Joseph seeping into the minds of the New Jersey Devils power play. They're hurrying their shots. You see them trying to hurry one-timers. They're not being fluid. They're not relaxing. Larry Robinson said the worst thing to do in hockey is to think.
Well, it's going to take a quick reaction, a bang-bang play, or perhaps a miscue by Joseph to get one by him. Here is Joseph stopping the angle shot there by Arnott. Loose puck is underneath the Toronto player, and a quick whistle there. The crowd wanted a delay of game penalty against McKay, but he got the quick whistle, and the faceoff will stay in the Toronto zone.
Here it is, the play off the backboards, and a quick backhand shot that Joseph was able to handle, and then McCabe there got a little bit of help falling down to his knees and covering it up. I'm not sure if they were booing for a penalty on Brian McCabe or booing the ex-Islander captain.
That's right. There's always that factor here with any of the teams that play in the Metro New York area, although they have not booed my partner, former Ranger general manager Neil Smith, who actually had a couple of fans come up and praise his work with the Rangers, which was nice to hear from some of the Devils fans as this puck is cleared down the ice. As you saw, nearly 245 consecutive minutes of shutout hockey on the road in the playoffs for Curtis Joseph. His save percentage coming into this game in this year's playoffs better than 98%. Now Joseph plays it around the boards and got a fortunate bounce, and Alan McCauley able to clear it all the way back.
We showed you that the shots were 5-0 for Toronto halfway through the first period. Since that point, the Devils have had 4 shots on Curtis Joseph, and they're now 5-4 for Toronto, who hasn't had a shot in the second half of the first period.
Toronto back in full strength. Thomas on the right wing boards. Plays it ahead now for Matt Sundin. It was just out of his reach. Turner Stevenson bounces it back into the Leaf zone. John Madden, good speed, but Aki Berg hits him aggressively into the boards. Now Pandolfo battling with Steve Thomas, but there was Sundin. Perfect position defensively. Gary Roberts now cutting behind Thomas. Thomas would have been offside. Roberts realizes that. Gets it all the way back into his own zone. Now Berg throws it across. Here is Thomas. Sends it ahead for Sundin. That's going to be icing unless the Leafs touch it first, which they do. Wrapper on attempt by Sundin was stopped by Brodeur. And back comes Madden, getting himself free from Steve Thomas's check. Demchina to Madden a shot, and again misfiring on it. Now Markov, who has the game's only goal, hands it off, and Yushkevich able to clear it back out center ice. Under 3 minutes remaining here in the first period. Now it comes to McGillney, slapped away in the play offside at the Toronto blue line.
We saw a great example of why Gary Roberts is such a good compliment to Sundin.
Well, again, they come close, but they haven't been able to break through. If you're just tuning in, Ty Domi did not have a scrap. We're not exactly sure when this happened or how it happened, but a typical playoff badge of courage. Some kind of a bandage on the cut on his upper lip. Cut on the bridge of the nose. A little blood on the jersey, but Ty Domi's right back out to take his regular shift. Chopped from the line by Danico. Steered aside by Joseph. Chopped that off the boards and cleared by McCauley. Now Danico plays it to the far side. McCauley gets there for the Leafs. Now Domi behind the net. Sidesteps McGillney. Here is Ty Domi. Drops it off now for Darcy Tucker. The fourth line here for Pat Quinn, doing some good work deep in the Devils zone. Now Markov, the defenseman, comes way in. McCauley, as Domi is dumped to the ice. Ty Domi drawing the penalty. Tucker with a shot. Save. Brodeur. Loose puck in the crease. And finally it is covered up. And the referee, Marawelli, getting in there to let everybody know that the play has been blown dead, and it's going to be a cross-checking call, I believe. And we will find out for sure who it is from Kerry Frazier.
Number 3, New Jersey, 2 minutes cross-check.
Well, there's no doubt about this one. Ken Danico, the old veteran for the New Jersey Devils, just puts Ty Domi face first right into the frozen water before the skirmish right in front here that almost resulted in a 2-0 lead. Let's take a look at it from inside the net as first Kenny clears the front, and watch that puck out close. It's coming, and he's not sure at this point. He can't fall on that puck in the blue paint,
right,
or it's a penalty shot. And the veteran Danico making sure it was outside the crease before he held on.
How important is this penalty kill for Larry Robinson's New Jersey Devils? Already down 1-0. The Maple Leafs 1 for 3 in game 1.
And exactly 2 minutes to go in the period, or 1:59.
Back to the line, Berg tees it up for a shot that went off the skate. Yushkevich has it now, and we're going to have a penalty, I believe, against Toronto. And Yannick Perreault is looking like what happened, and so there's going to be an interference call, and he may have interfered with the goaltender. And Pat Quinn can't believe it.
Well, Yannick Perreault found a way to get in and nudge Martin Brodeur here on this power play, and nudge it was, because it wasn't a very, that's not exactly what Bob Probert used to do to goalies in the American League. He barely touched him with the stick, and there's Yannick upset about it. We saw Coach Quinn pretty upset about it, but that totally nullifies the Leaf power play only 8 seconds in.
Well, coming up, Dodge, different intermission. Sports Center in game with David Lloyd back in our studio. Yager sits, but the Pens roll. And who's the Tiger impersonator? We'll find out about that with David Lloyd coming up in just a couple of minutes. So 4 skaters aside. And Larry Robinson coming out with Holik, Breland, Rafalski, and Stevens. Pat Quinn with Sundin and Roberts, Caberlet, and McCabe. Breland taking over for the Devils, drops it back for Rafalski. 1.5 remaining here in the first period. Now Breland across the line, centering pass for Rafalski. He was tied up by McCabe. Roberts over to help. Toronto Maple Leafs, you can just tell by their body language, Neil, the Maple Leafs are a confident hockey team. Much different look than we saw down the stretch of the regular season.
Absolutely different. This is a totally different team psychologically, and the Devils are pressing in this first period, Dave.
Here is Rafalski across the line, and now Breland making it in deep. Dropped it back. Rafalski sends it across. Gomez with a chance, and another big shot block. That time it was Caberlet that went down to help Curtis Joseph. And Sundin starts it back. Now McCabe with it. McCabe will just send it in deep. 45 seconds left in the period. Got Stevens run into by Shane Corson, but made the pass to McGillney. And now you got McGillney, Gomez, and a third forward in Niedermeyer, the way he plays. Now McGillney fakes the drop pass, puts on the brakes, gets it to the forehand, sends it across now. Colin White back to McGillney. A one-timer was blocked by Yushkevich, and it bounces all the way back out to center ice.
The way Scott Niedermeyer's playing in this first period, he's either going to really help the Devils get some offense going, as I'm sure Larry Robinson hopes, or he's going to kill them defensively, because he's rarely back beyond the offensive blue line.
Here is Corson with it. 7 seconds left in the period. They'll clear it out to center ice. It comes to Markov, and Markov from outside the blue line hammers it in just wide. And Danny Markov had the only goal of the period. The Toronto Maple Leafs, with a 1-0 lead in the series, also have a 1-0 lead here in game 2.
Well, I think this whole thing in this period,
Remaining in the Danico box virtually right after the drop of the puck, and a very short 8 seconds of power play time for the Devils, but they'll barely get it to center ice by the time Yannick Perreault steps out. There is Perreault out. So as you see, full strength. 5 skaters aside, a near steal there by Roberts. And Danico from center ice fires it in wide of Joseph. Where that puck hits the inboard, just stayed there that time. Very cross with it. Gets it along now, Aki Berg. For Roberts, tried to chop it out of there. It was knocked away. Breland tried to get it in front. Crossed over, covered. Now McKay centering attempt with Buck. McKay has it again. Sending it out to the line, and the net behind Curtis Joseph came off the supports gives us a chance to take a look at some highlights from the first period, Neil.
Well, the difference in the first period, of course, is the one goal. And how did they score the one goal on a one-timer? Markov came in the back door. A great pass from Gary Roberts. A one-timer and in the net. That's the only way you're going to beat Brodeur. And the only way you're going to beat Joseph is a one-timer. But all of the Devils one-timers, they missed on them. That's the difference in the game. The puck comes across. You're not going to score on either of these goaltenders, either Martin Brodeur or Curtis Joseph, without either completely screening him or getting a one-timer. And there's the reason, Dave, why you said that that puck hit the glass and died, because when it hit the glass, it broke it. That was the Ken Danico shot that went by the net and glass. In this building, this is plexiglass, not Herculite. There you see Ken Danico, 37 years old. Ken Danico's played in every single New Jersey Devils playoff game. This is 139th consecutive playoff game, every single one since they moved from Colorado.
And plans on playing a few more years. Face-off win by Holik. Gets it back to Rafalski. Rafalski's shot hit a skate, picked up by Holik. Gets a shot through, and Joseph, well, he's been very emphatic in making those saves and clearing the puck to the boards. He does not want to take any chance of a puck laying near the crease area. Off a rebound, a lead pass here off the stick of Roberts. He'll try to chase it down, but there's Brodeur. It'll play into the corner. Now Sundin wheels it, fires it right back in, and Brodeur got a piece of that. Now Stevens with it, hands it off for Holik. Center ice for Randy McKay, and he'll backhand it deep into the Toronto zone. Hockey Berg moving it quickly. It comes down to Steve Thomas, who had one of the two goals of the Game 1 victory. He lifts it in wide of Brodeur. Big carom off the board, taken down by Brian Rafalski. Rafalski looking to get some skating room. Sends it ahead for Holik. Immediately, he is stood up in the neutral zone by Markov. And Breland sends it deep. Out comes the Jason Arnott, Peter Sikora, Patrick Elias line. They played only 5 shifts in the first period. Here's Ty Domi. Lines it across. Darcy Tucker taken down. A shot by McCauley from the left wing side. Was steered aside by Brodeur. Now Elias, and he gets free. Elias takes the shot, goes to the forehand, goes behind the net, dumps it in front of Sikora. Checked on the play by McCauley. O'Donnell throws it across. Colin White tees it up. Shot was blocked. And Tucker racing back the other way. Darcy Tucker. And Sean O'Donnell ties him up. What a sequence. It looks like it's going to be a scoring chance. It doesn't even end up as a shot on goal. Sikora sends it to Elias. That shows the great patience of Curtis Joseph. It's not just his cat-like reflexes, it's his patience that forces the shooter to make the first move. The shooter wants the goaltender to make the first move, and Joseph just outweighted him.
Well, Dave, you talk about the psychology, too, of Curtis Joseph getting to the Devils. We might have seen it right there.
Here's Nemchinov now, peeling back. Now rolls it along the boards behind Joseph. McGillney chases it down. This line played more than any other in the first period. A deflection in front by Gomez, and Joseph, who's run into it, but made the save. And McGillney with a one-timer, got plenty of that to save. Out to the line, and score! It may have been tipped in front, but finally the Devils are on the board.
Well, there's the Alaska native Scott Gomez, who's tipped that point shot to give the Devils their first goal of the series. As the first shot, Cujo got the one-timer. But unfortunately for the Leafs, they sent it right back to the point, and Gomez, as he came in front of the net, almost inadvertently deflected that puck down into the net. Let's look at it from the Southwest Airlines goal cam. Scott Gomez in front of the net, stick up in the air, deflects it down and bounces by Curtis Joseph. It's a 1-1 game.
And suddenly we have some noise in this building. Brodeur out to play it around the board. Gomez, first goal of this series, third goal of the playoffs, and his 7th career playoff goal. Antropov now for the Leafs. Sends it deep for Yannick Perreault. Yannick Perreault, top of the circle shot, knocked down in front, and the Devils able to clear.
The Devils goal is part of the playoffs.
Now Perreault back backhands it into the New Jersey zone, and it's taken by Niedermeyer as they announce it officially as Gomez. And Danico, who broke the pane of glass earlier in the period, as again Joseph tried to hoist it out of there and didn't successfully clear the zone, but the Maple Leafs finally recovered to get it out of there. Alexander McGillney getting the other assist along with Danico. Here it comes to Elias. Elias, he had Turner Stevenson going to the front of the net. Now it finally gets there, but it's Corey Cross getting a stick on it, and Berezin clears it as McCabe dumps it back into the New Jersey zone. This is going to be an icing call on the touch-up by Rafalski.
Well, as this crowd starts to come alive at the Continental Airlines Arena, Dave, it's going to be interesting to see whether the psychology changes now and the Devils build off.
The celebration of the goal, a couple of extra shoves there that carried over.
Well, Thomas Kaberle was upset because he was the one that gave the puck away. Whenever you do that in a playoff game, you want to punch the first white sweater that comes near you.
So we've got the two captains in the penalty box. There was Scott Stevens, and there was Matt Sundin. So 4 skaters aside. Neither team has scored a 4-on-4 goal or given one up, for that matter, so far in these playoffs. Face-off win by Elliott. Gets to the loose puck, trying to tuck it in. Save Joseph, and he immediately covers. That's how quick Patrick Elias is at creating a scoring chance.
The Leafs have got to be careful right here because you can feel the Devils' confidence having come back. They're playing in this short period a lot more confident. Let's watch the face-off. Elias goes forward and then gets the puck and tries to bring it around and stuff it. That's a confident guy that tries to do that. We didn't see that kind of thing in the first period out of the Devils, who came out into this game tentatively.
Well, again, and you pointed out, it may have been the fact that the play of that man, Curtis Joseph, starting to get into the heads of a very experienced team, the defending champions, but you begin to doubt yourself when you have some of the chances that the Devils have had in the first game, plus a little better than one period and nothing to show for it. But a different sense of urgency, a look to the Devils. As Shane Corson racing down there to try to negate this icing, which he does, and Igor Korolev there as well. Rafalski digs it out for the Devils, hands it off now for Elias. Elias and Sikora waiting for Colin White that joins the rush. Sikora to Elias. Sends it in front, it goes through the crease area. And Colin White and Shane Corson having some words there. To this point, I don't think we're going to have any penalties. Our Nextel league leader would put up in the elite class, but I think that was more surprising than home versus road.
It certainly is. Those are all great goaltenders and all took it on the chin in game 1.
So we continue with 4 skaters aside in a 1-1 tie here early in the second period of game 2. Here's a steal by Alan McCauley. McCauley waiting for some help. Yushkevich coming into the zone, but the pass was blocked. And Gomez tried to go with speed. Good recovery by McCauley again. Now it comes to Gomez. Got Gomez. Hands it off to McGillney. McGillney makes a quick move. Still controls the puck. Peels away from Markov. Hands it off for Gomez. No, McGillney still has it. One-timer Niedermeyer. That bounced off a leg in front. Now Rafalski with a hit shot. Joseph thought he had it. It is 2-1, New Jersey.
Well, Scott Gomez was a big part of this goal again as he scores the first one. This is 4-on-4. The shot goes across. Right there you saw Gomez slightly bump Joseph. Right before Rafalski shoots, Gomez has just bumped Joseph. You don't see it right here. Joseph misses this shot. You're not going to see that very often with Curtis Joseph. There's Gomez just slightly in the way. Curtis Joseph's attention's taken away. When he refocuses back on Rafalski, it's right through him and into the net.
And look how deep Curtis Joseph was. Now, sometimes he will play deep because he's a goaltender that has such great reflexes, but I think he had just been bothered, as you mentioned, and probably would have liked to have been more out on top of his crease to cut down the angle. Here come the Devils again, centering pass, and it went just wide of Elias. But how about Larry Robinson with Scott Niedermeyer and Brian Rafalski out on that 4-on-4?
Niedermeyer's still out here.
Number 28, Brian Rafalski.
Second goal of the playoffs, first of the series for Rafalski as Berezyn's drive is corralled by Brodeur.
You're not going to see many goals like this on Curtis Joseph. Usually when he can see the puck, he's all...
It's been their penalty killing. And now let's see how the Maple Leafs react, trailing by a goal as it comes down to Corey Croft. Tried to dump it toward the net, went off the skate of Danico. And Rafalski being hooked by Roberts, being bothered by Roberts, but Rafalski so strong on his skates, still able to get it in deep. Now it comes to Thomas. The teams are back at 5 aside. Thomas tried to go to Corey Croft, and that pass was off the mark. And here is McKay with it. Now Sundin tried to sweep it in. It bounced off of Stevens. And Randy McKay, he couldn't get it deep into the Toronto zone. Collision between Thomas and Holik. Now Aki Berg able to get some help as Sundin clears it. Now Thomas puts it into the New Jersey zone.
Everybody's livened up. Scott Stevens is hitting. The crowd is screaming. The Devils are back.
Oh, and Holik, he got the stick up. I was about to say he got away with it, but the referee behind the play, Dan Mariuelli, has spotted it, and Holik is going to go right now for 2 minutes. And I'm not sure if the Leafs realize that, and Steve Thomas got a straight right hand into the face of Randy McKay. Now Corey Cross, that's the Maple Leaf player that you see, number 4, that has the headlock on Holik. And this is what we expected to see a little bit more of, Neil. In game 1, we didn't really see any of this. Scrums after whistles, and the Maple Leafs trying to establish that they can play in this kind of game.
But what you're seeing, Dave, is the Devils have finally scored a goal, and it's taken a huge monkey off their back, and they've loosened up.
Right. Hockey players are just like broadcasters, carry a little makeup kit with them wherever they go.
Well, some broadcasters.
Yeah, that's right. So the Toronto Maple Leafs have just their second power play of game 2 as Sergei Berezyn tried to go with speed. Oh, he took a pretty good chop there from Stevens. And this play is onside for Antropov, but he couldn't control Stevens, able to clear it all the way back down the ice. Devils 2, the Maple Leafs 1. Dave Strader with Neil Smith. Dave Ryan is with us down at ice level as well. Oh, 2 Maple Leafs collided hard. It was Perreault and Berezyn, and they bounced back up. And the thing you worry about in a collision like that is an injury because neither player is expecting it.
Not only that, there was 2 hits at once. We'll have to take another look at that in a minute. But 4 Maple Leafs all hit each other.
Now Brodeur wristing the puck around the board. Berezyn getting his body in the way of that clearing attempt. But it is chased down now by Danico. He moves it to Patrick Elias, and Elias sends it all the way down the ice.
Leafs have got to get something going here and quiet this crowd back down, get the Devils a little bit nervous again. That's the key.
Roberts sends it deep. Thomas trying to get in there. So is Sundin. The puck comes to Pandolfo. He wanted to hit John Madden. A very dangerous shorthanded player for the New Jersey Devils. Still a half a minute remaining on this Toronto power play. Lead pass now for Sundin with some speed into the zone. Roberts tees up the shot, missed the net. Now it comes to Caberlet. Caberlet looking out toward the line, hangs onto it. Now Sundin, he'll get it to the left point. McCabe with it. McCabe, nice fake. Works it in deep behind the New Jersey net. Here's Sundin trying to go high on the short side, and don't know whether that got through to Brodeur, but he had it covered. Now Madden trying to poke it away from Caberlet. The 2 of them will go to the end board. Madden getting his stick free. Centering pass of Pandolfo, checked by Sundin. And Sundin made the good play as the Devils back at full strength. Out of the box is Holik. He gets to the puck. Sends it across looking for Madden. Madden dumps it to the side of the net. Steered aside by Joseph. And now Sean O'Donnell unable to hold it in. Here's Roberts with a steal. Roberts tees it up, hands it off instead. Caberlet and a one-timer by Corlett. Good defensive play by Sean O'Donnell. I think he got a piece of that. Lead pass from McGillney. He's got the puck away. Johnson. He scores!
We talked about it right off the beginning of the show, Dave, how important Alexander McGillney would be He was their big goal scorer for this New Jersey team, the team that was the top scoring team in the NHL. And Alexander McGillney comes through to give New Jersey their third goal and a 3-1 lead. He's got speed. He comes in here and goes 5-hole on Curtis Joseph. Watch it again. Down the ice, picks a 5-hole. Again, his speed is what does it for him on this one, as well as obviously being a great goal scorer.
The puck handling ability of Martin Brodeur started that breakout. Brodeur should get an assist. He fed it to Gomez, who made the perfect feed right up the middle to a streaking Alexander McGillney. And after going so long without getting a goal against Curtis Joseph, the Devils suddenly have scored 3. And this is going to be an icing call, as Domi trying to get something started with Turner Stevenson, who kind of gives them a look like it's not going to happen now. And Juszkiewicz puts the glove in the face of Jay Pandolfo, and things are going to start to heat up now.
Now there's the Brodeur assist that you talked about, Dave, and that's what we talked about also, about the great puck handling ability of some of these goaltenders. If you've got a goaltender that handles it the way Martin Brodeur does, you've got 3 defensemen out there.
With Yannick Perreault, along with Sergei Berezin, Brian McCabe, and Thomas Kaberle on the points. Face-off control by the Leafs. Kaberle winds up, got some room, shot steered aside by Brodeur. Now Jason Arnott rolls it across for Elliott. Recovered now by Colin White. Arnott pushes it ahead, out of the reach of Elliott, but Joseph has to come out and play it. Berezin up the right side. Hands it back down for Kaberle, and he decides to come out to center ice to get regrouped. Here's Brian McCabe. Backhands it across the Devils zone. Berezin will track it down. Chopped away by Niedermayer. Now McCabe again. Carries into the New Jersey zone. Hands it off for Kaberle. Rink wide pass anticipated there by Niedermayer. 3-on-1 Devils break. Gomez takes a look. Drops it back. Jason Arnott with a shot. And a shot block. Rebound at the side of the net. Gomez couldn't get control as he was tied up. Well, that's what can happen 4-on-4. Scoring chances can materialize so quickly. White slides it across. Stevens a one-timer in the glove of Joseph, and he will hang on. Now the Devils finally have figured out Curtis Joseph. They have scored 3 goals in a span of less than 6.5 minutes, and they are coming at Joseph looking for more. It is 3-1 New Jersey, just past the halfway mark of the second.
Larry Robinson, the Devils coach, went over with his team in practice yesterday. Simplify things, get a lot of traffic in front. We saw Scott Gomez with the traffic in front of his tipping goal and helping out on the Rafalski goal. Guys, he also talked specifically with Rafalski and Scott Niedermayer about simplifying things, just get shots to the net. It paid off with Brian Rafalski tally in this game tonight.
No question the defense has been more involved, and yes, the traffic has played a part in getting through to Curtis Joseph. Neil Smith was just saying in the break that Curtis Joseph finally looks human. I mean, he actually gave up a couple of goals that you would certainly not expect him to give up after looking invincible, but that's what can happen in playoff hockey, and it's made a huge difference in the way the New Jersey Devils have picked things up here. 3-1 in favor of the Devils. 8.5 remaining here in period number 2, and here come the Leafs looking to get on the board as Sundin goes to the backhand. It's blocked. Loose puck bouncing in the crease and covered up by Brodeur as players literally crashing into the net. And so the officials are going to try to sort all of those bodies out of there, and that gives us a chance to go to our Visa storyline here for Game 2. Curtis Joseph Roach had the first 5 shots on goal of this game, remember, and since then it's been all New Jersey 14-6, and we've seen physical play in the crease area, and this is what led to that last scrum. Okay, let's see how many players can fit inside a 4x6 net, and they got up to about 6, and they said that's enough. Get out of there. Juszkiewicz and Sean O'Donnell come out of their respective boxes, and they will be replaced as they go to the benches. And we have 5 skaters aside with just over 8 minutes left here in the second period. McGillney makes a quick move. McGillney centering pass, loose in front of Joseph, bouncing puck in the crease. McCabe had it. Now finally Joseph able to cover up, and we're going to have a pile down at the other end. And you can bet, just like at the bottom of piles on the football field when you know guys are sending messages, perhaps out of sight of the officials, that things go on down at the bottom of these scrums in the crease area as well. Although we have the benefit of that goal cam that can catch some people, and apparently somebody has been caught.
When the Leaf coaches take a look at this game tape tomorrow, they're going to find out that they got to do something about that man right there, Scott Gomez, the guy that's been living in the crease all night and aggravating Curtis Joseph. This is a great view from inside the net. Watch how many times Joseph gets aggravated here by Gomez. Look at Gomez jump right on top of him. That's why Curtis was upset. Scott Gomez is doing a great job tonight of getting in there. As I said before, he's been instrumental in all 3 goals. But the Leafs have got to do something about him. You can't allow that to go on. Curtis Joseph is your bread and butter.
So you have
Ranger teammates have been going at each other all night.
Now the faceoffs, which Toronto dominated in game 1. Elias wins this one cleanly. It comes back down to Danico. His first shot. That deflected just wide. Elias may have gotten a stick on that. And that puck up on the netting and is going to stay there. Well, a reminder, 11:30 tonight on ESPN2. John Butchercraft, Barry Melrose, and Ray Now McCauley for the Maple Leafs had it knocked away, and it's cleared out to center ice. Elias able to get control of it, though, for the New Jersey Devils. Just off the bench, Yannick Perreault able to play it for Toronto. 7.5 remaining here, period number 2. Berezin for Yannick Perreault, gets it deep into the Devils zone. Niedermayer takes a look, sweeps it around the boards. Chopped up by Sikora, picked up by Elias. Breaking free of his check was Niedermayer. Elias waits, pulls it back, takes the shot, deflected behind Joseph along the inboards, and Berezin has it there.
There's 2 great river hockey players out here, Berezin and Niedermayer. They love 4-on-4 hockey, these 2 guys.
Perreault's shot was stopped by Brodeur, and now Holik plays it off the boards, and Niedermayer looks to come back on the attack again. For Sergei Brylin, Holik going for the front of the net. Brylin sends it deep instead for Niedermayer. His pass intercepted by Igor Korolev. Now it comes to McCabe and Brian McCabe. Poke check there by Holik, who's got the long reach. 35 seconds remaining in the 4-on-4 situation. As it comes to Holik inside the line, puts on the brakes. Holik sweeps it in wide of Curtis Joseph. Holik coming off that outstanding offensive performance with 4 goals and 4 assists in the first-round win over the Hurricanes. Here come the Leafs the other way. Corson. And it's poked away by Stevens. And Stevens bumping with Korolev. The Devils captain with the outlet took a hit from Corson as the puck comes down to Brian Rafalski on the move. Rafalski, he's got Brylin. Brylin with a quick shot. Oh, good right hand saved by Joseph. Hockey Berg back to play it, and he's got some time here to make a play. And Chinoff and Domi out of their respective boxes. And Domi has it, and that play ruled offside at the Devils line. We wondered how the Devils would respond going so long without scoring a goal. Well, they have responded by scoring 3 as Domi and Stevens go at National Hockey Night crew, game 2 of this Eastern Conference semifinal series. The Devils trying to even things up. And after falling behind 1-0 early in the second period, started a 3-goal purge that took 6 minutes and 29 seconds to complete. Hockey Berg pass center ice for Corson does not connect, and Chinoff will drop it back. And now it is cleared by Rafalski out through center ice. Jason Arnott on the line here with Nemchinov and McGillney as Larry Robinson has juggled his line combinations a bit. Some of it because of so much 4-on-4 here in the second period.
I think so. He's got players that are fatigued, that have been out there for the 4-on-4 and for penalty kill and for power play. He's got to mix people up and get some other people involved in the game.
Corey Cross dropping it back. Hockey Berg. Ahead now for Korolev. Korolev slides it across. That bounced off of Corson. McGillney sends it ahead. Here is Madden behind the defense. Score! What a play by Madden!
So John Madden, who grew up idolizing his Toronto Maple Leafs as a youngster in suburban Toronto, gets a big goal on Curtis Joseph He's got incredible speed, and he showed it there by getting behind Corey Cross. McGillney makes the pass. Madden steals it, puts it away. He's got tremendous breakaway speed once he gets behind that defenseman, and that's been his attribute to get those shorthanded goals that he got this season.
We were talking about breaks and the Devils getting none. Did you see the break they got there? It was a good look by McGillney, but it bounced off a Toronto stick. Here comes Turner Stevenson right back, and Joseph able to make that stop. If that puck doesn't hit the stick of the Toronto player and slow down a bit, Madden may have been offside on the play. Madden's first goal of the playoffs this season. His fourth career playoff goal. McGillney getting the only assist at 15:04, so in just over 12 minutes, 4 goals by the Devils against Curtis Joseph. Colin White plays it around the board. Sundin knocks it down. Sundin right to the front of the net, deflected away by Brodeur, and then it hit Steve Thomas. And the Leafs trying to keep the pressure on. Here is Thomas. Now Sundin runs over Madden. Thomas tries to center it. Brodeur got a stick on it, but the Devils able to ring it around the glass out to center ice.
I think O'Donnell inadvertently knocked Sundin and knocked Madden right over on that play. I don't think it was as much Matt Sundin hitting Madden as it was him getting hit.
Another odd man rush, and here is Breland for Holik. Holik fakes, waits. Has Joseph down a centering pass for Breland. Oh, the puck was knocked away, and then Steve Thomas ran right over the top of Sergei Breland and took the penalty. But after being unable to get many scoring chances, and whatever they did was turned aside by Joseph, the Devils suddenly getting a bunch of odd man breaks.
Number 32, Toronto, 2 minutes charging.
And there's the call against Steve Thomas.
The ex-Devil Steve.
And so power play number 3 for the New Jersey Devils, and they've gotten everything else going their way in this game. Why not solve the power play? That's something they're still looking to get on track here in these playoffs. Rafalski's shot right straight through, and the rebound sent just wide by Elias. And it's cleared around the boards, cleared through center ice. Darcy Tucker taken down by Rafalski. And there's going to be an interference call here against Brian Rafalski that's going to negate this New Jersey power play that went just 14 seconds.
Number 28 from New Jersey is 2 minutes for tripping.
Well, Dan Maruelli calls that tripping. I would call it, you're allowed to play the last man with the puck. He stuck his stick between his legs. Darcy Tucker makes it look a lot better than it really was. We always call those even or up penalties because it was certainly something that if it was 5-on-5, you would have expected them to let go.
Southwest Airlines intermission report. David Lloyd, Sports Center in-game, the NHL playoff picture, and also highlights from an exciting first round of the NBA playoffs. All that coming up on the Southwest Airlines intermission report.
Well, we talked about 4-on-4 and how it benefits the Devils, and the Devils are certainly the faster team. And here we go again with our third 4-on-4 of the game.
And McCabe now backing up as the Maple Leafs look to get regrouped. They led it 1-0, had the only goal of period 1. Well, once the Devils got through with 1 goal, they have poured a total of 4 past Curtis Joseph here in the second period. Stevens taken hard to the boards by Roberts. Now Sundin with it. That's Sundin to the front of the net, redirected by Caberlet, who came in to join it. And it's cleared back out to center ice. Back comes Jason Arnott. Arnott crisscrossing. Wanted to drop it there for Elias. Arnott collided with McCabe, who lost his stick. Back the other way. Sundin tries to hand it off to Roberts. Pass was behind him. And Scott Stevens gets to the loose puck. Here's Elias now for the Devils. He'll just send it in, looking for the line change. Now Berezin being pursued by Gomez. Sergei Berezin, dangerous in open ice, and he clubbed on that shot. Nearly fooled Brodeur. I thought he broke his stick, but apparently not. And Colin White with it now for the Devils into the Toronto zone. He drops it back. Gomez makes a nifty move. They're going to go wide on Berezin. Gets the shot away, deflected away by Joseph. Got Gomez. An inspired player here in game 2. McGillney sends it back in deep. Joseph comes out to play it, has it on the backhand, and hoists it up the glass. And that puck comes free, recovered by Niedermeyer. Now to Matt. Quick shot saved by Joseph. Boy, John Matt got something on that first shot.
Watch Bears in here. He loves this. Open ice. He'll hold it all the way up.
Thomas out of the box. Short power play here for the Toronto Maple Leafs for another 8 seconds. In deep now for Thomas behind the net. Centering pass knocked away by the goal stick of Brodeur. A chance for Berezin. And that hit a skate on the way through. Berezin with it again. Sends it out or tried to use Skavich. Intercepted by Rafalski just out of the box. Rafalski hands it off. Breland drops it off. Niedermeyer now to Madden. Redirected and it was blocked in front of Joseph. Great puck movement there by the Devils. A 4-man rush into the Toronto zone. Corey Cross chips it in deep.
And you wonder, Dave, why on that break the defenseman wasn't aware that Rafalski was coming out of the penalty bench. That caused that scoring chance for the Devils. Usually Curtis Joseph would have been whacking his stick on the ice. I wonder if it's because his right hand is bothering him.
Well, we'll keep an eye out for that as Corey Cross comes out of his own zone. Lead pass left side now for Korolev. He tried to dump it in front between the circles. Corey Cross digging after it, but it's Breland for the Devils that gets it away to center ice. Holik looking to poke it ahead for Randy McKay. Holik has it looking for somebody late coming into the zone. Instead rolls it back to the corner. Randy McKay tried to draw the attention that one of the Maple Leafs had a hold of his stick. Back now Shane Corson. Corson backhands it toward Brodeur behind the play. You got Corey Cross just going after Holik and just hammering him. And Holik refusing to respond. And Corey Cross probably figuring this late in the second period, we're down 4-1. If we are going to send a message to the New Jersey Devils, we're going to start right now. And this could be a long and very nasty third period. Let's hear the call.
For Toronto, 2 minutes for roughing, plus 2 minutes cross-check.
Wow, so this is a 4-minute power play coming up for the Devils. They'll only get 14.3 seconds of it right here in this second period, and they'll get the rest of it in the third period. Corey Cross, who's been renamed Corey Crosscheck,
yes,
has certainly not done his team any favors by that. The one thing you know about Holik is you're not going to be able to...
The Blues and the Dallas Stars live from the Reunion Arena, 7:30 Eastern, 4:30 Pacific, as the shot by Elias goes wide. Final seconds of the period. This is a power play for the New Jersey Devils that will continue into the third. And the crowd here at the Continental Airlines Arena coming to their feet. Darcy Tucker going over to have some words with Bobby Holik. We expected a change when and if the New Jersey Devils got that first goal. We didn't perhaps expect as dramatic a change as we saw in this New Jersey team, and a guy that certainly was responsible for the turnaround with the first goal and then assisting on the next two was Scott Gomez, as Martin Brodeur, who did his part holding off the Maple Leafs in that second period, heads down to the tunnel.
The Devils are...
After 2 periods of play, and the only way the former general manager of the Rangers, Neil Smith, said he would come back in front of these Devils crowd is if the Devils have a big lead. Will the team on the ice oblige Neil Smith? And what a difference just getting 1 goal made for the confidence of this New Jersey team.
Well, everything in this game is about confidence. Toronto came out with a lot of confidence. As soon as the Devils got it, you could feel it in the whole building. You can feel the momentum change over to the New Jersey Devils. The building opened up. The crowd got into the game. People started to hit. The hitters were hitting. The skaters were skating. And the Devils took over the game.
And they also start this third period, Neil, with an extended power play because of the double minor penalties called on Corey Cross for roughing up Bobby Holik late in the second period. And so a chance to extend this 4-1 lead. But here come the shorthanded Maple Leafs led by Sundin. Now Roberts. Sundin again. Markov going to the front of the net. It's in. It's behind Brodeur. A shorthanded goal just 29 seconds into the third has made it 4-2. And we'll have to wait and see how this went in. Sundin was the one that shoveled it with the backhand. Markov went to the front of the net. How does it get in behind Brodeur? No, perhaps Markov did get a stick on it unless it hit the New Jersey defender, Neil.
Well, it's a backhand, just a backhand shot by Sundin. It looked to me like it goes all the way through. And the one thing that the Leafs needed was a goal here within the first 30 seconds to make it just a 2-goal deficit. Now the Devils have tightened up, hopefully, a little bit.
Well, they're going to credit the goal to Sundin. And Gary Roberts getting the only assist. So the power play continues for New Jersey. And a little bit more pressure now that they've given up the shorthanded goal. But McGillney couldn't get a stick on that centering pass. Shane Corson got it to the line, but not out. Now here's Gomez with it. Sends it back to McGillney. McGillney couldn't get it through. Yushkevich walked it. Here's Gomez with it. Gomez to the forehand, and the puck rolls off his stick to the corner. In from McGillney, score! He hammered the one-timer, and it's back to a 3-goal Devils lead.
Well, there's their power play goal, and there's the guy that we talked about that had to get the power play going, Alexander McGillney. And what do we talk about with one-timers? So we hit them all 3 of them. This guy has got to be the first star of the game, Scott Gomez. He's done everything for them. And here he sets up another goal by Alexander McGillney. He works it all the way through to the corner. Randy McKay's in front of the net causing havoc. Here you see it from our Southwest Airlines goal cam. Look at Randy McKay right in the crease, and you see the puck already by Joseph, and it gives the Devils a 5-2 lead.
Incidentally, on the Rafalski goal that was scored in the second period, they took away a Gomez assist and gave it to McGillney. So Alexander McGillney with that goal now has a 5-point night. He has 2 goals and has assisted on the other 3 New Jersey goals. And he was one of the players certainly that had to come up big offensively. And here comes Darcy Tucker now on a loose puck. He is spun around by Rafalski. No penalty coming. Darcy Tucker can't believe it. He has something to say to Gary Frazier as the puck is sent in wide at Joseph. Still about a minute 20 remaining on that second minor penalty to Corey Cross. Gomez getting the only assist on the McGillney goal. A 5-2 lead for the New Jersey Devils. Here comes Joseph out of the net. He'll put it up high on the backhand off the glass. It's chipped by Alan McCauley, held in though by Gomez. Recovered by Aki Berg, and he sends it all the way down the ice.
52 seconds to go in this 4-minute power play for the Devils.
And they have looked much better, and as you pointed out, they finally got the power play goal that they were looking for, their first in this series, and that is the first power play goal that the Toronto penalty killers have given up in the playoffs going back to the first round against the Ottawa Senators. As Gomez back into his own zone. Toronto had the first 5 shots on goal since then, 22-7. A steal by Sundin. He's in. Oh, what a save by Brodeur. The rebound goes wide. If Sundin scores there, we still got a hockey game. What a save by Brodeur. McGillney with a one-timer deflected just wide, and that ends up well into the crowd and out of play. And how about Martin Brodeur? I was just saying he hasn't faced a lot since the opening 5 shots by the Toronto Maple Leafs, and he faces Matt Sundin.
And Matt Sundin got a softie early in this period, but here he's got a breakaway or a semi-breakaway, and Brodeur makes a great save. Let's take a look at Alexander McGillney's 2 goals. The first one on a breakaway through the 5-hole, and the next one on a one-timer of a Scott Gomez pass, with a lot of havoc going on in front, courtesy of Randy McKay. And that's what the Devils wanted to do in this game. They wanted to get in front of Joseph, cause havoc, take his focus away from the puck, or hopefully get it so that he couldn't see the puck. On most of these goals tonight, most of the 5 goals, I think that Joseph's been able to see the puck, but his reaction has been slower because he's had so much havoc going on all around him.
Corson for the Leafs, able to clear. Colin White sends it across. It's picked up by Sean O'Donnell. Early here in the 3rd period of Game 2, Eastern Conference semifinals. The Devils trying to even this thing up before they go back to Air Canada Center for Games 3 and 4. Remember, they split the first 2 games last year in Toronto. And the Devils eventually won in 6. A delayed offside, and the play now whistled down.
Well, Larry Robinson's got to be pretty happy with a number of things that he's gotten off of his checklist of things he wanted to see go better for his hockey team. Obviously, a power play that was 0 for 8 in the first game, the Leaf win. They've got that monkey off their back. They've got Alexander McGillney scoring. And they've found out ways to get pucks past Curtis Joseph. So
Absolutely.
A lot has been accomplished here in this second game at the Meadowlands.
And they've been able to do it without the big line of Barnett, Elias, Sikora having to carry any of the offensive burden. But they are the top scoring team for the regular season, and they had tremendous balance in scoring in their first round victory over the Carolina Hurricanes. Cross-ice pass now for Berezin. His shot did not get through. Thomas Caberlet lays it in deep. Taken by Berezin again. Antropov tried to go back to Yannick Perreault. And the Devils get it out to center ice. Ryan McCabe chasing it back into his own zone. Hands it off Caberlet. Checked by Niedermeyer. Niedermeyer backhands it in. Along the boards behind Joseph. McCabe picks it up there. And Yannick Perreault decides to just hoist it all the way back inside the Devils line.
Well, what we'll be looking for now is how much rough stuff gets started here with 15 minutes to go in the third period. Probably 15 minutes to go in the game without a miraculous recovery by Toronto, but you might see a lot of physical play now, a lot of message sending and setups for the games back in Toronto.
Well, we thought that might be the case as we were talking during the second intermission, unless Toronto got a quick goal, which they did, but then New Jersey answered right back. And so you're right, with a 3-goal deficit, how much longer do we go? Here's a wind-up by Elias. It fires the shot just wide as the puck is cleared by Corson out to center ice. 5 minutes gone by here in the third. Each team has a goal in the third. The Devils with a 3-goal advantage. Long pass center ice. Here is Holik. 50-footer on the way. Joseph just stood his ground. Miskevich hands it off now for Markov, who started the scoring back in the first period. Center ice, it comes back. Here's Randy McKay. McKay backhands it toward Joseph, and he decides to cover up and gets a quick whistle.
Well, the Leafs are going to have to throw everything they can at this point in the game at Martin Brodeur and hope that they can get a couple of soft ones.
Well, they also need some other people to pick it up. As well as they have played in these playoffs, their third and fourth line players, Corson, Domi, Hoagland, Korolev, McCauley, and Tucker, a big fat 0, not 1 point from those 6 players. And if you have these players contributing in other ways, which Corson and Domi, certainly Tucker, McCauley, these kind of guys have done, that's fine. But eventually, as we've seen from past Stanley Cup champions, you have to have some production from the third and fourth line. Eventually, the Sundins and players like that, Berezin, are going to get completely shut down, and somebody else has to pick it up.
You're absolutely right. The teams that win in the playoffs, their best players play way up like superstars, but it's those role players and how much they can play above their level that decides who wins and loses.
Holik drops it back. Freeland with a drive that doesn't get through, and the Maple Leafs try to counter the other way. Here is Sundin. Going wide on Colin White. Sundin pulls it to the back. He gets it for a shot. Save it. Rebound chance. He'll score. Steve Thomas off a Sundin rebound, and Thomas looked like he may have been clipped up around the left eye. It won't hurt as much for the moment. And what a play again by Matt Sundin, and Steve Thomas is going over to say, look at this.
He's right over talking to Kerry Fraser about what happened. Let's see if we pick it up on the replay. Matt Sundin does a great job here of going to the net with the puck. Brodeur foils him. Oh, there you saw Colin White came across. I'm not sure if that was an errant stick or it was at all purposeful, but there's the blood dripping down on Steve Thomas. He'll have to get that repaired before he goes back out. This makes it 5-3 Devils.
Play offside of the Toronto line. Well, the Maple Leafs never say die. They are within 2 with still a lot of time left in this game, too. Well, Matt Sundin continuing under more difficult circumstances to prove that he deserves to be called a leader.
Played the most minutes on the Leaf team, second most minutes on the Leaf team going into the third period. And he's a +3 in this game when his team is down 5-3.
He has a goal, a shorthander, and then assisted on the other two. Here is McCabe right up the middle. Fakes a shot now. Looks to hand it off to McCauley. McCauley centering pass. It's loose in the crease area. Tipped away by the Devils. And McGillney tried to backhand it out of there. Domi held it in. And so now the Devils come back. Who will get the next goal if there is one in this game? Here's McGillney circling the net, centering pass right in the crease. And McCabe cleared it out of there, but not out of the zone. Gomez held it in. Got Gomez. Hands it off for McGillney. McGillney looking for a 6-point night, and it bounces into the glove of Joseph. And he gets a quick whistle. Gives us a chance to go downstairs to Dave Ryan.
All right, Dave, thanks a lot. Even if Toronto cannot come back from this 2-goal deficit here in the third period, end up losing game 2, it's got to be a great sign for them. As you and Neil mentioned, that Mats Sundin is playing so well. He's got a goal and 2 helpers in this game for 3 points. 8 points in the playoffs so far. He's already surpassed his point total from last year's Devil Series when he had just the 1 helper. Now, Pat Quinn says the depth offensively with 2 scoring lines for the Maple Leafs is really going to be a key to take them deep into the playoffs because they have players like Sergei Beresin and Tropov and Yannick Perreault behind the Mats Sundin line. They've got depth. And that's taking the pressure off Sundin, who last year tried to do too much on his own, Dave.
Well, that's right. And as we pointed out, though, eventually you hope to get something out of that third, fourth line. As Elias shot, did that get through? It was tied up and on it. Now it's in the net, but Kerry Fraser is saying no. He's calling it kicked in immediately. He has waved it off. And not much argument, as we can see from the New Jersey Devils. Puck was kicked in with the skate. Remember, it must be a distinct kicking motion. You can't redirect the puck with a skate into the net. But there was no hesitation at all from Kerry Fraser. I didn't think that puck had gotten through to Curtis Joseph, but we couldn't see where it was tied up.
Well, here you'll get a good look at it from inside the net. Jason Arnott jumps up. He got hit with the shot and then kicks it towards the goal, and it goes right through Curtis Joseph into the back of the net. And then Jason, there is a sniper in the building, but hit with a puck. There you see him kick it towards Joseph and right underneath him and into the net. And that would be good in the North American Soccer League.
Yes. Neil, what are your thoughts? Should that goal count? Should you allow players, if they can do that with their feet? I mean, I know you don't want the sharp skate blades up in the air, kicking and flailing away, but you know, a goal like that, why not count it?
Well, again, the kicking the puck into the net has never been allowed in the history of hockey. It's always been that goal is not allowed. And a few years ago, you couldn't go in off your foot no matter what. Now, you're allowed to tip your skate one way or the other and allow a deflection.
I wouldn't mind seeing that goal allowed, but you're right. It would be a huge change, but just another way to add some more potential offense to the game.
You also don't want people flailing skates around
that's
kicking
right.
when the puck is down around the goaltender's glove and you have everybody kicking at it. You certainly don't want that.
Well, Markov going back to play it. Now for Yushkevich. As it comes to center ice, backhanded, and it will bounce in on Brodeur, and he had to be careful with that, steering it aside. Rafalski, nobody open, decides to just play it back out. 8 minutes gone by here in the third period. The Devils with a 5-3 lead. Here in game 2, looking to even this series up. Now Matt sends it back the other way, Turner Stevenson. McCabe had the angle on him and stayed with him. Van Dalper driven hard into the boards by Antropov. And now Camerley sends it ahead for the rangy forward number 9. Van Doffel clears to center ice. Stevenson hands it off. Here comes Madden with some speed. Winds up. This shot easily steered aside by Joseph. Antropov trying to get moving here now as he gets the puck back from Camerley. Antropov will wrist it right into the glove of Brodeur. He settles it down, hands it off for Stevens. Stevens able to get it to the line, but not out. Second effort. It's Freeland getting it to McKay. Randy McKay, his pass did not get through. He'll chase it down on the far side. Corey Cross wisely decided against the cross-ice pass, and this does not connect with Beresin. It will be an icing. No, they've waved it off. Icing was waved off. And Niedermeyer will settle it down now as we approach the halfway mark of this third period. Toronto has outscored the Devils 2-1 here in the third. That's a positive sign for the deficit that they faced. Sundin hammering it whole league. Now here is Thomas behind the net. Centering pass. Score! Sundin! Thomas! just struck again, and it's a 1-goal deficit.
Well, they're getting excited on Yonge Street again, I can tell you that. Matt Sundin, we've said it and said it. Matt Sundin is unbelievable in this game. Still fighting through when this game looked like it was completely out of their range. He's been the whole Toronto team this period. Steve Thomas out to Sundin. He puts it past Roger. Let's take an ISO look at Matt Sundin right here. He gave Holik a couple of shots. The puck comes out to him, and he puts it into the corner. And it's a 5-4 game.
Matt Sundin, second goal of the game.
And +4 in the game.
Absolutely. His 26th career playoff goal for Matt Sundin. Roberts getting an assist along with Thomas, who made the direct feed from behind the net, and we have a 5-4 Devils lead and a suddenly quiet Continental Airlines Arena again. So the power play goal that was scored by McGillney to answer the Sundin shorthanded goal right now is the difference of the game. Domi sends it deep. This is going to be an icing call, as Domi was shy of center ice when he fired it in. Mets both have figured in all of their team's goals, and New Jersey enjoying the 1-goal advantage. We're just shy of half a period remaining here. And what a turn of events we've had here in the third period. Turn of events in the second period, finally getting through to Curtis Joseph. The Devils do, and they pour 4 by him. Sundin gets a improbable goal shorthanded just 29 seconds into the third, but then once New Jersey answered that to make it again a 3-goal deficit, I figure the Devils will just button things up and shut it down, but that's not the case, as we have a 2-line pass, and that gives us an opportunity to get to our Labatt Blues storyline. McGillney with his 5 points and a +10 playoff rating lead in the National Hockey League, and Matt Sundin 2 third-period goals and 4 points so far tonight.
Well, they've tried to shut him down, but they couldn't. Here he is, Matt Sundin, with the weak backhander that found its way in, and then converts a Steve Thomas pass. Both those goals coming here in the third period. Crucial goals to get Toronto back in the game.
And Neil Smith pointing out that they are celebrating on Yonge Street. Of course, for our fans here in the States that don't know, Yonge Street is a street that you want to celebrate on in Toronto. One of the main thoroughfares up there in that fine Canadian city, where we will head next week for games 3 and 4. And it will be a different atmosphere in the Air Canada Center, especially with the way the Leafs have performed here in the first 2 games, regardless of the outcome of this one. As it comes across now for Markov, this was a team that was leading the Eastern Conference about midway through the regular season, and then seemed to completely fall apart, under 500 down the stretch. Barely getting into the playoffs when it looked like they might be the #1 seed at one point.
Well, no one ever quite knows what goes on inside the locker room except for the coaches and the players. But apparently in the second half of the season, there was a little bit of segmenting of the player base, and they pulled it all together right near the end and in the break between the regular season and the playoffs, if you can believe it. And this is a cohesive group now.
Well, you certainly can tell the way they believe in each other, and winning those 2 overtime games in that Ottawa series, getting the goaltending they did from Curtis Joseph. And they have just built on that, as Berezin could not get it into the New Jersey zone. Markov, he dumped a New Jersey player right to the ice. That was Turner Stevenson. And we have an icing call. Let's go back to the studio and David Lloyd, ESPN. I would have loved to have seen that Ray Bourque save from the overhead camera, because I can't believe that didn't break the plane of the goal line. But regardless, the great hand-eye coordination of Ray Bourque. Markov reversing the puck. Back now for his partner Yushkevich, and it's deflected back into the Devils zone, and Danica will have to chase it down. They waved off the icing. Devils with a 5-4 lead, and a near turnover. That was Sundin again that got in there. Boy, if he had handled that cleanly, would have created a scoring chance. Now McGillney. Nifty pass through the leg, picks it up himself, tries to wrap around, saved by Joseph, and a loose puck steered to the corner by Gary Roberts. Well, you can't afford to get sloppy even for a second with Alexander McGillney.
It's a real chess game going on now with a 5-4 score. We didn't expect this when we came back from the second period intermission.
Now Scott Stevens. Head up, ball away. Flips it out to center ice, or tried to. How about the hand-eye coordination? Roberts knocked it out of midair. Good job by Corey Cross on the far side. Breland started to go with some speed. Here is Roberts. Little chip pass. It's knocked away by Rafalski, but sent back into the Devil zone. Here is Stevens with it. Now for Holik. Holik bangs it off the boards, back into the Toronto zone, and good communication there between Curtis Joseph and his defenseman Corey Cross, letting him know he's going to play the puck and which way he was going to play it. That pass does not connect, and Domi's going to jump around Stevens, negates the icing. Here's Sundin again. Couldn't quite get the wraparound going. Jason Arnott tried to clear. Tucker intercept. Tucker's shot deflected right in front of Martin Brodeur. Now Rafalski running too hard by Tucker. Stevens run. Oh, Stevens ever drilled by Domi, and the referee Kerry Frazier right there nodded and said that's a good hit. And back come the Leafs again. And Darcy Tucker shaken up again. He got some of the New Jersey players trying to hit. He got a lot of the boards as well. Here comes Domi again with a hit. Now Sikora, Domi and Stevens. And Domi saying, come on, if you want to go. But Stevens, of course, is not going to do that. Now here's Caberlet. Very nifty with the puck and showing some confidence. Handing it off from McCabe. McCabe into the zone, snaps it along the boards behind Brodeur. Madden chases it down and clears.
We're going a long time without a break here, Dave. There hasn't been a lot of whistles in this third period, which certainly works to the benefit of the Devils with the lead.
We want to see that clock continue running, no question about that. James Morrison now in deep for Korolev. This is a line that could certainly help out with a point. Shot there by Markov, deflected in deep. Here's Hoagland with it. His shot goes just wide of Brodeur. Kane Carson steps over. Turner Stevenson, though, got his stick on it. Gets it back to center ice, shot it right up into Markov, and that play offside. Scott Stevens has made the most impact with big hits in time. It is a one-goal Devil lead. They led by as many as 3 on a couple of occasions at 4-1 and also at 5-2. McGillney, who has 5 points on the night. Out there now as Niedermeyer fires a shot wide. Here is Scott Gomez. Sending it deep, and Markov steps in there. Markov around the glass. It bounces by Danico. This is not going to be icing, as Danico will have to hustle back. He clears it back out to center ice. Now McGillney taps it across just off the bench with Holik. Tries to go back to McGillney. Corey Cross got in there. Cross is hooked on the play, but got some help as it comes to Matt Sundin. Rink wide now for Thomas. That was just behind him. Thomas wanted to go to Roberts. Good read by Pandolfo, and this is going to be icing against the Devils. Don't forget more NHL playoff action.
The winner of this series would win the Stanley Cup, so that's how different it is now in a 30-team NHL than it was last time Toronto won.
Long shot sailed just over the glove of Brodeur. It was just winning 2 series, of course, when there were 4 teams in out of the original 6.
And, of course, that's where the octopus comes from in Detroit, because it has the 8 legs representing the wins that you need to win the Stanley Cup.
This puck pinned up along the boards right by the Devils bench, and it finally comes out to center ice. 3.5 remaining in regulation time. Roberts, Sundin, and Thomas. We're going to see a lot of this line down the stretch. Lead pass for Holik. He's onside. He drives the shot. Joseph the save. Rebound. Holik trying to get it back in front. And Joseph just got the stick on it. Roberts with it again. Now for Corey Cross. Long pass center ice. Ty Domi has it there, waiting for the Leafs to complete the change.
Well, Pat Quinn certainly playing his whole bench with only under 3 minutes to go. And Ty Domi out on the ice. That's a bit of a surprise. Most coaches that have their bench cut down now.
Here is Danico playing it out to the point, intercepted by McCabe, but he could not hold it in. Domi coming over, trying to put a hit on Elias. Elias able to avoid that and dumps it in wide of the Toronto goal. Here is Caberlet with it. Eberle plays it back off the inboards and picks it up there himself and starts it back the other way. Pass was behind Alan McCauley, and that allows Niedermeyer to just send it back in.
You see what the Devils are doing? They're just dumping it back in, and now they'll line up and let Toronto come out to the neutral zone. They've got their trap going.
Antropov hoisting it across just off the short glass. Baseball tonight is coming up next year on ESPN. As soon as we're done here at the Continental Airlines Arena, this puck sent down the ice. No icing. They've waved it off. 2 minutes now remaining here in regulation. We'll start to keep an eye on Curtis Joseph. A bit early yet, but we'll watch as the Leafs get it to center ice. The crowd here is starting to chant that defense cheer to try to keep this lead protected. McGillney overskates the puck, backhands it in behind Curtis Joseph. Yushkevich will pick it up. Now it comes to Antropov. Antropov had it knocked away. Rafalski plays it to center ice. Madden has it there. Across now for Pandolfo. Pandolfo intends to just carry the puck as far as he can to have more seconds tick off the clock. It comes to Sundin. Now to Berezin. Matt Quinn will have many more of his offensive players out there. That jumped over the stick of Steve Thomas. Berezin again. Minute 10 left in regulation. It comes down to Berg. Joseph indicating that he's looking to come to the bench. Now Thomas gets it deep, and there he goes. And here comes Brodeur.
Too many men on the ice right now.
Well, they finally get Curtis Joseph. What a job he did the low hurdles to get into the bench.
They had too many men on the ice.
They got away with it. Here comes Thomas, makes the move to get it in deep. Sergei Brylin gets a stick out of Thomas, recovers. Here is Sundin. Got Sundin centering attempt, block. He has it again. Sends it out to the line. He put it right between the point men. It rolls all the way back. And the Leafs are going to have to come 200 feet in a half a minute. Here is Sundin with it. Makes the move on McKay. Sundin still controls. Sends it across for Robert Berezin. Bouncing puck. It is knocked down. A chance score! Steve Thomas! He's tied the game!
This is unbelievable.
23 seconds on the clock.
And again, Dave, who did all the work? Matt Sundin. It's like Groundhog Day in this building. I'll tell you that Matt Sundin has dominated this period of hockey here in the Meadowlands. Look at this. Right through the Devils. The puck finds its way back out to Steve Thomas and up and into the net. Watch it again. Steve Thomas grabs it out of the air, puts it down, and flicks it up to the top of the net.
To do what Steve Thomas did there in the mayhem that's going on with the clock running down, to have the presence of mind to grab the puck, set it down, and then shoot the puck high. He knows the Brodeur's taking everything low away. It looks so easy the way these athletes do it, and we slow it down and it looks easy, but believe me, that's one of the hardest things in any sport to do, was what Steve Thomas just did in the split second that he had to accomplish it. And we have a whistle here with just under 16 seconds remaining, and I believe the lines coming up. The Dodge Different intermission report. David Lloyd, Sports Center in game, is going to have to work overtime with the rest of us as the final seconds of this third period ticking down. An incredible turn of events. A team that rarely gives up a lead in the third period. And the Toronto Maple Leafs scoring 4 goals in the third period. And here's the reaction to the fourth and final one that has sent us to overtime, and we'll send you back to David Lloyd.
All right, David.
Maybe under. Dave Ryan, the rest of our National Hockey Night crew. Steve Thomas, the man of the hour, scoring with just 20.
Done in their playoff OT history. Toronto having, of course, a lot longer history in the National Hockey League than the Devils.
7 consecutive playoff wins, Neil. How about that? Their last loss going all the way back to '96. The Devils 1-8. That's hard to believe with the success they've had playoff-wise. Of course, winning the Cup in '95 and being the defending champions. Already the 17th overtime game that we've had in the 2001 playoffs.
There has been no double OTs, and 7 have been decided in the first 5 minutes of OT. Let's find out if this is going to be the 8th.
Backhanded by Thomas deep into the New Jersey zone. Rafalski took a hit but made the play around the boards, and Holik now from center ice sends it in wide of Curtis Joseph. Chasing it down is Breland. Sergei Breland rolls it back now for Holik. Holik tried to get it in front. Randy McKay was open for a moment looking for the one-timer. Here's Holik again for Breland. Looks like the Devils want to try to end this thing early. Here's Breland, wraparound, turns, rolls it back and hit the side of the net, and the net may be off the supports. It is behind Curtis Joseph.
Well, you're seeing a lot.
Again, the 7th consecutive playoff in the Toronto zone. Gomez and McGillney, the offensive heroes to this point out there for New Jersey. Face-off, though, controlled by the Leafs. Corson lays it back into the New Jersey zone. The Devils goal, and the series is tied at 1 going back to Toronto. A Leaf goal, and what would be seen as a commanding 2-0 lead going back to home ice at Air Canada Center. Not only that, the way it's happened against this Devils team that protects leads as well as anybody. Blowing a 5-2 third period lead. Here is Niedermeyer on the move, dumps it in as away from the puck. McGillney was taken down, but it's going to take more than that to draw a penalty here. Now Alan McCauley clears it up the board. Darcy Tucker couldn't get to it. O'Donnell shot. That was blocked by Markov. Starts it back the other way now for Ty Domi. He gets it to Markov. Makes the shot. Works his way to the top of the circle. Now lets it go. And it's blocked all the way out near center ice. And McGillney nearly broke free. And just gave it, sends it back off the far boards into the Devils zone. On past center ice, Elliott. Redirects it for Sikora. Arnott going to the front of the net. Save made by Joseph, and he hangs on.
Well, that was a Devils opportunity.
They have done it on the New Jersey roster. Face-off win by the Devils, although Elias was moving before that puck was dropped. I thought they may re-drop it, but they let it go. We saw in the St. Louis-San Jose series is sometimes just a strange drop of the puck as that puck is up into the New Jersey bench. A strange drop of the puck. There was a face-off that hit the stick of Mike Ricci, and they didn't blow that face-off dead and redo it. It went right out to Bryce Salvador, and he blew it over the shoulder of Kiprasov to give St. Louis a big win in that game, in that playoff series.
Well, on the Sundin goal in the Ottawa series, Matt Sundin was actually headed to the bench and decided to stay with it and take a shot at Lalime, who had played perfect up until that shot beat him in game 1.
Actually, it would have been Nabokov that was in goal at that point for San Jose, I think, early in the series. Kiprasov came in later after the undisclosed injury to Nabokov.
Tonight's game is it's a first Leaf playoff game where Curtis Joseph will not be one of the 3 stars of the game.
Yeah, that's right, exactly. Imagine him not playing anywhere near his best, and here they are in overtime with a chance to win it. Face-off win by the Devils. O'Donnell shot it across the Maple Leaf zone, and Corson able to clear it for the Leafs. O'Donnell waits for his teammates to get onside and now lays it back into the Toronto zone. Corson for Toronto. It's recovered by Sikora. Sikora rolls it back. Here's Elliott. A little touch pass for Arnott. Tries to give it back. And this shot blocked up over the glass behind Curtis Joseph and out of play.
Put them right back into the series. Gave them a commanding 3-0 lead.
Madden on the faceoff for the Devils, but it deflects right now to Steve Thomas. Thomas, Roberts, and Sundin out there. For Pat Quinn is Pandolfo. Rolls it back the other way. Corey Cross and Aki Berg. Out of center ice for Thomas. Batted out of the air by Thomas. Picked up by Sundin and touched with a high stick. Conditioning. He was pointing out that down the stretch, and this is true, Neil, for all NHL teams, game after game after game and travel, you don't have time to get in condition. It really helped Steve Thomas. He said, my legs felt so good in game 1 of this series because of the break, and boy, has it carried over here to game 2.
It certainly has.
Madden shot that hit Aki Berg, and he cleared it to the board. Now it's batted down by Scott Stevens with a glove. If that is touched by a Devil, it's going to be a hand pass, and finally it's touched by Aki Berg, and it's cleared by the Maple Leafs to center ice. We are in overtime here at the Continental Airlines Arena. Long pass for Gomez off of his stick. McGillney gets to it. McGillney dumps it in deep. Joseph just stops it there and pushes it now to Corey Cross. Behind the net for Aki Berg. This defense pair has seen quite a bit of ice time and justifying the confidence that Pat Quinn has shown in them. Here comes Shane Corson. Hoagland heading for the net, but it's taken away by Niedermeyer, and Hoagland went sliding, or rather it was Shane Corson, excuse me, that went sliding into the net behind Brodeur and knocked it off the supports. Back up for Eddie Belfour when they won the Cup in '99. Didn't play a minute of those playoffs. And then Turek with the shaky performance last year and the upset at the hands of San Jose, bouncing back against the Sharks in round 1 and getting the victory against his old mentor in game 1 of round 2 this year. And as much as the goaltenders figured to be a story in this series, Brodeur and Joseph, we've had 10 goals, 5 for each side. As it comes to Domi just out of his reach. John O'Donnell will chase it back into his own zone. Now McGillney, quick redirect pass, but it's picked off by Danny Markov, who had the first goal of this game, and it was the only goal of the first period.
This is an odd matchup for Toronto with McCauley, Domi, and Tucker out here against Gomez, McGillney, and Nemchinov. Gomez and McGillney have been huge players offensively for the Devils, and Pat Quinn having the confidence in Domi, Tucker, and McCauley to play them against them.
That puck up into the penalty bench and out of play.
Ian's the Hall of Famer, won numerous Stanley Cups and knows what it takes.
Was an assistant coach for the Devils, of course, when Jacques Lemaire was the head coach in '95 when the Devils won that cup in a 4-game sweep of the Detroit Red Wings in the final. 5 minutes have gone by here in overtime. McCabe played it to the line and outside the line. Sergei Brylin telling the linesman, "Oh, you missed that one," but these linesmen don't miss too many of those right in front of them. And Sergei Brylin is one of the many leftovers from that '95 championship team. In fact, 7 of the Sundin, Roberts, and Thomas back out there for the Leafs against this Holik, McKay, and Brylin line. It comes to Sundin. Up on the right side for Thomas. Gains the zone. Sends it across now for Roberts. Roberts sends it deep. There is Sundin. Sundin looking in front, hanging out of the puck. It comes all the way to the point. Hockey Berg shot is blocked, and back comes Brylin. Berg has the angle on him, and he's also got Corey Cross helping. Late man coming. Gets Holik to the back. And sends it across. Goal! Randy McKay has tied this series in a game apiece. We talked about Sergei Brylin having the ability to make a play, but Toronto was dangerous with their most dangerous line moments before that.
Well, that pass was originally intended for Gary Roberts from Sundin. It got to Berg. His shot got blocked, and the Devils got the odd man rush. And Randy McKay, I believe that's his first shot on goal of the playoffs, but boy, does he make it count. Right here, it comes across the front of the crease, and Curtis is over there, but he gets it up and over the leg. Let's take a look at the reaction of the New Jersey bench. And there's 2 old foes that are now 2 great teammates, Robinson and Fedosov.
The 10th odd man rush for the Devils in the game results in the game-winning goal. The final score in overtime, the Devils 6 and the Toronto Maple Leafs 5. Our next National Hockey Night telecast coming your way tomorrow at 7:30 on ESPN2 from Reunion Arena, Game 2 between the Blues and the Stars. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the world.